Welcome to Learning with UNP. In this session of Business Intelligence with Power BI, we will explore filter functions, focusing specifically on calculate function, which is an essential part of data manipulation in Power BI. For this demonstration, we will use the Maven Market dataset. In today's session, let's start with intro to filter functions and then dive deeper into calculate function. Let me first explain you what are filter functions. Filter functions in Power BI are powerful tools that allow you to control which data is included in your calculations. They help you refine and focus your analysis by applying conditions or criteria to your dataset. Essentially, filter functions let you specify exactly what data should be considered in your measures or calculated columns. For example, if you have a dataset with sales information, you might want to calculate the total sales for a specific product or for a specific time period. Filter functions can be used to isolate the data that meets your conditions, providing you with targeted insights. One of the most commonly used filter functions in Power BI is the calculate function. It allows you to modify the filter context of a calculation, enabling you to perform calculations with different filters than the ones applied to the entire dataset. Let's dive deeper into the calculate function. The calculate function evaluates an expression in a modified filter context. To look at the parameters of calculate function, let's click on transaction data, click on new measure, type calculate. Here is the function, hit tab. Here are the parameters. Expression. An expression to be evaluated. Filter 1. The set of filter conditions that modify the context in which the expression is calculated. In simpler terms, calculate function lets you take a measure or an expression and apply new filters to it. This makes it incredibly versatile for creating more complex and dynamic measures. Now let's look at a practical example using the Maven Market dataset. In this dataset, we have a table called transaction data, as you can see it here. In the Maven Market Transactions table, we already have calculated the total quantity sold measured. This measure gives us the overall quantity of products sold across all transactions. But what if we want to find the total quantity sold excluding a particular customer? Let's say we want to exclude the quantity sold to customer ID 3. Here is where the calculate function comes into play. We can create a new measure called total quantity sold except customer 3. But wait, here you all might have a doubt. Why are we using a measure instead of calculated column? In our example, we use a measure to calculate the total quantity sold except customer ID 3 because it dynamically updates based on the filters applied in the report, allowing us to exclude customer 3's quantity sold while still adjusting for other filters like dates or product categories in real time. Now let's calculate it. Let's name the measure as total quantity sold except customer 3. Equals to type calculate. Here is the function hit tab. We are trying to calculate the total quantity sold except for customer 3. So the expression would be total quantity sold. So type total quantity sold. Here we already have the measure and it is visible here. So hit tab, comma. Now our filter condition is that we want to calculate the total quantity sold except for customer ID 3. So let's type customer. And here we have the column Maven Market Customers Customer ID. So hit tab. We are trying to calculate except customer 3. So use the symbol and type 3. The meaning of this is that we are trying to calculate the total quantity sold except for customer 3. Close the bracket. Let me brief you what this formula is doing. This part of the formula is a measure we have already created which calculates the total quantity of products sold across all transactions. This part of the formula is our filter condition. It tells Power BI to exclude transactions where the customer ID is equal to 3. By applying this filter within calculate function, we are modifying context in which the total quantity sold is calculated, effectively excluding the quantity sold to customer ID 3. Now let's look at the value by taking a number card onto the canvas. So click on the canvas, click on number card, drag this measure and put it over the number card. If you can see here, the total quantity sold except for customer ID 3 is 833K. As you can see, the calculate function allows us to fine-tune our calculations and gain specific insights from our data. By excluding customer ID 3, we can analyze how much quantity is sold without considering this particular customer, which could be useful for scenarios like identifying the impact of different customer segments. Now, you might notice that the values for total quantity sold and total quantity sold except customer 3 are the same. This tells us something interesting. Customer ID 3 did not contribute any sales in the dataset. So, when we exclude their sales, the total quantity sold remains unchanged. This highlights an important aspect of using the calculate function. It's not just useful for adjusting calculations, but also for revealing insights like this. In this case, it shows us that customer ID 3 has no impact on the total quantity sold. Such insights can help business understand customer behavior and adjust their strategies accordingly. Remember, the power of calculate function lies in its ability to apply various filters, making your data analysis more flexible and comprehensive. By following along with this example, you should now have a clear understanding of how the calculate function works and how it can be applied to filter and manipulate data in Power BI. Click Ctrl S to save the changes. This is all about today's lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.